Welcome back, everybody. We're here today with our second Cabral HouseCall of the weekend. Excited to open up the giant Ask Cabral document. Thousands of questions on there, many of which have come through the last couple of weeks. So we're usually about 12 weeks in arrear to getting to your questions. But nonetheless, we'd love being able to answer those. And if you're willing to wait, then I'd love to be able to tackle them. For same-day support, any questions you have, if it's order support, of course, then just email support@eco.life or support@stephencabral.com. All of that is good. But if it's a health-based question, do feel free to ask it at cabralsupportgroup.com. That is where the team is at. That's where you're going to be able to get your answers. All right, let's dive into the questions here today. I'll just give you the disclaimer up front. All things wellness we're going to talk about, all things weight loss, weight gain, anti-aging, longevity, life extension, you name it. We'll talk about it. But what I can't do is provide you with any medical advice, medical treatment plans, medical cures, or medical diagnosis of any kind. Now that we know that, let's get to the underlying root causes of where the real issues may be coming from. All right, Lewis is up first. Lewis says, "Hi, Dr. Cabral. Would you recommend bentonite clay for someone with slow gut motility, chronic constipation, and gut cramping? Would it be fine to take Mimosa pudica seeds with such a condition? I would be somewhat concerned about possible impactions. Thanks." All right, great questions. And no, those are not my recommended products for slow gut and constipation. So those both. So here's the thing. Bentonite clay is a favorite product of mine. I love the product. I think it's fantastic. Huge advocate. It's in our universal binder product. So don't get me wrong, big fan. But it's used to basically detoxify, clean up the gut. It has negative ion, magnetic-based properties. It helps pull fecal matter off the gut wall. But if you take it, you want to take it with a bowel stimulant to keep things moving. So bowel stimulant could be something like vitamin C at a higher dosage. It could be more magnesium, or it could be something like the intestinal cleanse that we have. Now, all of that's fine in the short term, but you want to find out why the slow gut motility. Are there bacterial imbalances? Are there yeast overgrowth? Is there parasite issues? Is there lack of stomach acid from H. pylori? Is there stress? There's a lot of reasons. And so we want to figure that out. You can run lab tests. I always talk about the gut bundle, huge advocate of that. You can find the gut bundle at-home lab test at stephencabral.com/labs. And you can always just go to, I'll just say stephencabral.com/shop, and you can just literally type in the search box gut bundle, if you want. All right, Mimosa pudica, no, not so much for motility or constipation. That's a great one for parasites. So we have something called our Parasupport protocol, and that is in there to help with parasites and gut bugs. So that's what I would do. Hopefully that's helpful. Lewis? Jennifer's up next. "Hi, Dr. Cabral. Love all the information you provide and trust and appreciate your guidance." Thank you, Jennifer. I appreciate that. "I'm a 48-year-old female with pretty regular cycles still. I recently had the Dutch hormone test, and it showed that I have high estrogen and low progesterone and cortisol. I sleep well. I average 8 to 9 hours a night, 1.5 hours deep and 2 hours of REM, but I'm tired throughout the day. And I always feel like I'm in fight or flight. I started taking your progesterone support supplement, and I was taking Adrenal Soothe to help reduce my resting heart rate. It averages around 80 even when sleeping. It was helping to lower my resting heart rate, but I'm concerned about my low cortisol levels and fatigue. Would Adrenal Soothe be okay? And what about the adrenal energy support? Any feedback is appreciated." Okay, appreciate that. So again, I have nothing against the Dutch test. We may even offer it in the future. My highest recommendation, though, is running the stress, mood, and metabolism test and getting a saliva sample versus a urine sample. I can't recommend that enough for cortisol. I literally cannot recommend that enough. Run saliva-based cortisol samples. So I'm not saying that the Dutch test isn't correct. Like I said, nothing wrong with the test. It's just, if I get to pick, and I've been a practitioner for a long time, I'm choosing the stress, mood, and metabolism test. Because if your heart rate's in the 80s, it's most likely a norepinephrine issue, could be cortisol, could be food sensitivity, could be histamines, but something's elevated in it. But if it's histamines, it's going to raise norepinephrine most likely. And so I don't know. I'm a little bit dubious about that. And so what I would say, I need to see those lab results. Again, I don't like to guess. I like to test. That's the thing. I'd run the stress mood and metabolism test. I really would. So, and I know that I get it. I understand. If not, then yes, I would use the adrenal soothe, and I would use the progesterone support, and I would use magnesium and see if that helps to bring down that heart rate. And then look for other underlying root causes, such as potential food sensitivities and histamine issues and overall stress. All right? Good. Thank you for writing in, Jennifer. Appreciate you. Nana is up next. Hi, Dr. Ball. I really admire your continuous pursuit of knowledge and sense of wonder. I was wondering, how are you able to retain information from all the books and articles you read long term? Oh, good question. I've been asked that in a long time. Well, funny thing is, I'm back in my main office. This is where my library is. I brought it from Boston about 2 years ago, and it sits right across from me, and it's thousands of books. I love my books. And I don't do a lot of ebooks or like Kindles or things like that because I do like to go back to them. And I know you can highlight and all that, but so here's how my mind works. Everybody has their own like unique thing about them. The one thing I can do is I can read quickly. Now, I taught myself how to read quickly because I wasn't always a fast reader. I was a slow reader. I really was. 3 to 5 minutes per page. Now it's 30 seconds a page. Like it's just totally different. But you also have to read a lot to just be able to get that. But what I was always able to do was when I read something or saw something, I could retain it. And it works better if I'm more interested in the subject. I think that's the way probably for most of us. But because I'm more alert, I'm more focused. But what I don't have the ability to do is listen and retain. You don't hear me talking about audiobooks a lot. That's not how I learn. Now, my wife, she's phenomenal from an auditory standpoint. She knows all sorts of song lyrics, and when she listens to something, she remembers it. I don't know any song lyrics. Like legitimately, I'm not fooling around. I don't learn that way. So I learn by seeing visual-wise. Not everybody does that. Some people are just kinesthetic. They're different types. For me, that's how I learn. That's how I retain. I can literally see it on the page. And so that's what I do. And so once I learned that, though, about myself, I doubled down. I said, okay, yeah, no audio. Might be why I'm not the biggest music person because it doesn't work as well with how I function. But it's higher level, for reading. And so that's what I do. And I've also gotten in the habit. I read for 60 to 90 minutes every day. And so when you're in the habit and you kind of like switch to that mode, it's very interesting. And I've tried all sorts of things. I've got, all sorts of different highlighters on my desk. You can hear me clanging them around in there, dog ear pages. But, what I've really found to be the most effective is I highlight or underline and I write in this pages of books. And then I'm able to go back, and when I need it, I kind of refer back to it. But that's what I do. And part of it's just a strange quirk about me. That's about it. All right. Danny's up next. Thank you, Nana, for writing in. Danny says, hi, Dr. Ball. What's your opinion on Yohimbine HCL, which is just hydrochloride, it's a salt, for fat loss and as a fat burner? Is it effective and safe? And if so, can you recommend a brand you trust? Thanks. Okay, that's a great question. So Yohimbine is a product I haven't heard about for quite some time. It was very popular in the, let's say, late 90s, early 2000s. And it was used in the bodybuilding world and also for sexual performance because it brings more blood flow to all of the extremities. And so that's why it was used. But also, it gives you more energy and partially does that by increasing sympathetic nervous system tone, or so it seems. It could just be circulatory. And it also helps with the energy, so bodybuilders used it too. Could it help with fat loss? Yes, because it can elevate heart rate. So the thing is, though, it's not as popular anymore because there are side effects like irregular accelerated heart rate. That can be an issue, especially if you're older or have heart conditions. And many of the Yohimbine products were tainted, and that's why it's been banned in many countries. So we don't use it anymore. It's nowhere near one of the most effective. So check out a product that I formulated called Fatlocity. It's Fatlosity. You can find it at stevencabral.com/shop. There's no doubt in my mind that is the most potent natural fat burner on the market. And literally all the science to back it up. Now, I'm not telling you take that product, eat anything you want, don't exercise, don't move, and you're going to lose 40 pounds a month. I'm not saying that at all. It is the most natural, effective fat burner with improving your nutrition and exercise. And it works. And even works alone on its own. And that's what the science proves. Now, you lose a couple pounds a month if you use it by itself. Now, if you use it with other things, you lose more. Like, that's the goal. But that includes like patented ingredients, scientifically backed, studied ingredients, and more. So anyway, you can check that out as well if that works. All right. Let's go over Ryan's question. Ryan says, in 2018, I had my gallbladder removed and my base weight shot from 185 to 205. I found it extremely hard to rid myself of excess fat. I've done some intense programs that have had only minor and short-term success. As soon as my protocol stops, I return to my original composition. My PCM suggested markers of metabolic disorder, but my blood panels don't show anything abnormal, such as thyroid issues. I'm definitionally a kapha body type and can't seem to make any progress. I'm told, that's just aging, but I must believe I can improve. Are there any links to weight gain and gallbladder removal that can be mitigated? I'm 32, 5'9", run semi-regularly, lift weights 4 to 6 times a week, and under the supervision of trainers. Okay, happy to help with this. So 32 years old, 5'9", about 200 pounds. Obviously, like, again, kapha body type or not, we can make some good improvements. So if it's up to me, we're running the Big 5 labs. So like, that's what we're doing, Ryan. And like, in terms of gallbladder, we can use a product called ox bile and digestive enzymes. Ox bile can be used an hour after a meal, or just we'd simply have people take it upon waking before bed, so it's in your system. Okay, so it's in your digestive tract. Digestive enzymes, 2 to 3 capsules per meal. So that's that for the gallbladder, right? But again, you have to get doctor's permission, all that. I'm not giving any medical advice, medical treatment plans, medical diagnosis, medical cures here. What we would do is we would run the Big 5 labs, and then we would do the 21-day functional medicine detox. And then we would do a cheat meal, flex meal, whatever you want to call it. And then we would move right on to Fatlocity. And for your workouts, and we would be using the daily foundational protocol. For your workouts, we would actually not be lifting weights 4 to 6 times per week. We would be lifting weights 2 to 3 times per week, and then we would be ramping up, believe it or not, cardio for 4 to 6 days per week. And we would be doing that, not sprinting, cardio, believe it or not, in order to better improve hormone levels in terms of insulin, glucose, cortisol response. And then I would make sure your sleep is on point. Like, that's what we would do. So actually, my course is free. So my weight loss course is literally free with the purchase of Fatlocity. So, that's the program we would technically do. And you would get a personalized one if you're in the Big 5, and you get everything personalized. But yeah, that's what I would do. So, honest answer. All right, let's do one more question today from Suzanne. Hi, Dr. Bob. I've been listening to a podcast in which an MD was talking about different health risks of women who have never had children. He was specifically talking about a higher risk of breast cancer, etc. I'm in my mid-40s and chose not to have kids, so I'm curious to hear your opinion about this. Is it true? And if so, what are the things that we can do in order to reduce these risks? Thanks so much for your help. I really value your opinion and expertise. You know what? There are a few studies that actually show that, so that the medical doctor is correct. What I don't want to do is scare anybody. I don't think that there's a need to do that. And much of the breast cancer risk can be mitigated by actually making sure you have balanced hormones, not excess levels of estrogen. If you do, using a product called Estrogen Balance, or a product like it that has I3C and DIM in it. And then also adding a few cups of cruciferous vegetables to your diet every day. Can't recommend that enough. Broccoli, cauliflower, bok choy, kale, what else? Asparagus. Those are all great ones to add. Just, pick your favorites. And what else? Reducing cortisol, potentially using a little melatonin. I talked about that earlier in the week. Using something like the Daily Foundational Protocol, good omega-3s. These are all things you can do. But then not just that, right? Your exercise, your zone 2 cardio, sauna, all the things that are vitally important. If I were you, again, I don't want anybody to do what they don't feel comfortable doing. I have a whole course in this called High Performance Health. It's at highperformancehealth.org. It's a course you can take, or you can go for the certification. It teaches you all of the things that you need to know as you age to mitigate a lot of these issues. And the amazing thing is this. we share with you tests inside of there called the 10 vitality tests or 10 mortality tests that you run. So if you're worried about cancer, if you're worried about heart disease, if you're worried about stroke, if you're worried about diabetes, if you're worried about any of these things, you can actually run tests that will show you early detection. So if you ever had anything, it would show up. And it would show up in stage 1 typically, so that you would be able to deal with that at an earlier stage where it's very treatable. All right, so that's what we try to help people with as well. It's very in-depth. You can find that at highperformancehealth.org. All right, those are our questions for the today. So hopefully this was helpful. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning into the Cabral Concept. I really do appreciate our community. It's absolutely amazing. Never expected this in my wildest dreams. So thank you so much. And hopefully I get to meet many of you this fall, this October, where we're having our first live event for the community. You can find out all about that at reimagininghealthevent.com. Take care. I'll talk with you tomorrow on our Mindset and Motivation Monday. Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I want to make sure that you're getting our daily content, not missing out on anything functional medicine, wellness, weight gain, weight loss, anti-aging, living longer, stronger, and all of the most cutting-edge research. And if there's any topics you want to hear, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Take care.